Such a good day. Can that be seen? So I've got some thoughts on wheel posture or bridge posture and ways of moving into it and making it a little bit more available. The only potential limiting factor is strength in pushing yourself up into this variation, but arguably you can't have enough strength, and working on that in itself can be really helpful. This version is elevating the feet, and it's something that really helped develop my wheel posture or bridge. I avoided back bends when I started my yoga practice. Now they're a little bit more accessible. It's just work and practice, and I guess it was probably the most confronting thing because literally my standing back bend was just me standing up straight, which is crazy. So back to the drawing board. It might be simplifying it a little bit, but you could think of the wheel or the bridge posture as just being a combination of hip extension, T-spine extension, and shoulder flexion. Those three things together. Elevating the feet can really allow you to work into the upper part of your body, which for me I think was a bit of a game changer. I could work on the hip extension lower, but the actual space, the actual shape of the wheel posture, it was happening here when I was doing feet elevated wheel, and then later feet elevated wheel or bridge push-ups. I set up almost exactly the same as my normal wheel. So if my feet are elevated, when I'm on the floor my hips would be close to my feet. So I'll do the same thing. Move the hips in. I place my hands wherever it feels comfortable. A little wider can always be helpful, especially when you're working into the shoulders, and then you can gradually bring it a little bit more narrow. And then I also think about coming onto the top of the head first. Now I have a rough idea of what it might be like when I push up. Then I'm going to firmly push down into the feet as I send my hips upwards and kind of out towards the toes, and my chest upwards and out through the shoulders. This idea of expanding hips up and out towards the feet, lifting up, holding and driving. And then if I was to take it towards the push-up variation, I would lower down, bending into the elbows, head taps, up, out, and expand. And there are loads of ways this can be programmed. For reps, the time and the tempo, especially in the hold, and how many sets or efforts you might need to do. Whenever I was really comfortable in wheel, I would just do wheel push-ups every time wheel came up in the yoga practice. So again, knowing that you have that freedom, or hopefully practicing somewhere where you do have that freedom, you can kind of add it in, add the extra little bits of work in, and see how it helps progress your practice. Hey! So here I'm going for a few finer details. One is that I'm really going to use my hands to push down into the floor. Two is that I'm using my feet just as much, pushing down into the elevated surface and driving the hips forward, or else I think about that opening idea in the shoulders. I think about almost moving two parts of my body away from each other, so the hips forward towards the toes and the chest back in the direction of the hands. Setup wise, I think it is better than my previous obstacle to have a flat surface, because your feet will be in a very similar position. And again, as you come into that space, you're thinking about getting your hips nice and close. The closer you are, the shorter the base will be and the more challenging the bridge. So again, let there be a little bit of flexibility in the idea. It's guidance rather than a rule book. Hands, I would generally say go to the space that feels comfortable, a position that feels comfortable with your hands. Not too narrow, definitely shoulder width at least, maybe a little bit wider to start off. And then I'm thinking about pushing down, hips up, hands on the floor, go to the head, and then it's downwards pressure, pushing down with the feet and the hands at the same time. And I'm thinking about moving those pieces in opposite directions. And for the push-up bit this time, I think about the elbows staying close to each other, lowering down. I sometimes look down as if it's a real push-up, and then when I get to the top, opening out the position. I'll keep my elbows straight as much as I can at the top. And try to maximize the space that I gather with that drive into the feet. That's it. Another little golden hour finish in Bath. Quite a nice day. The sun was out all day and it was amazing. I was at a teacher circle in the space. We were reflecting a little bit on our journeys into yoga, becoming a teacher, and it just reminds me about this point. It should go without saying, but things like these ideas about the bridge, they're just ideas. They're not rules, they're just guidance. Give yourself a little bit of flexibility when exploring the ideas. Challenge yourself and push yourself a little bit as well. Ask someone for help or advice. Seek advice. Look at different ideas. Be open to the possibility that everything isn't linear. And especially when you're working on something, go easy on yourself. As usual, please let me know here if there's something that you want to see me talk about or muse about. And other than that, have a good day. Catch you soon.